Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into today's sources, pull out those key insights, and, well, really get to the heart of the matter for you. Our mission today: to unpack the truly remarkable and maybe surprising story of Ulysses S. Grant's rise during the American Civil War. We've got material that gives us a concise but really rich look at his journey from failure to becoming the commanding general who saved the Union. So the big question we're tackling is this: how does a man basically reduced to selling firewood end up leading a nation back from the brink? Let's dive in. Okay, so let's set the scene. Before the Civil War, Grant's life. It really wasn't pointing towards greatness, was it?
No, not at all. His military career had kind of fizzled out. He resigned back in 1854. There were those allegations about drinking.
Right, it's a stark contrast to the image we have later.
It really is. And the sources really emphasize just how adrift he seemed. By 1860, his civilian life was just one setback after another. Tried farming, didn't work out. Real estate agent, nope. Even tried being bill collector.
A bill collector.
Yeah. The material calls him a man adrift. He was really just scraping by, even needed help from his father.
And that low point in 1861, selling firewood in St. Louis, just to feed his family.
It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
It really is. Like the sources say, few would have predicted what was coming next for him. So he's at rock bottom. What happens? How does he get pulled out of this?
Well, it was the war itself, really. The crisis hitting the nation in 1861, that was his lifeline. The Union desperately needed experienced officers. Grant volunteered, but honestly, he was mostly overlooked at first, kind of forgotten.
But he didn't just give up. He kept pushing.
Exactly. It's that persistence. He kept at it, used what few connections he had, and eventually, boom, command of an Illinois regiment. And the sources say there was this immediate change, like the old fire returned.
Oh.
He just transformed back into a leader almost instantly.
And we see that on the battlefield pretty quickly, right? Those early successes.
Oh, yeah. Fort Henry, Fort Donelson, early 1862. Swift, key victories.
And Fort Donelson. That's where the famous nickname comes from.
That's the one. It's a great story. The Confederate general asks for terms.
And Grant gives him that legendary reply.
Yep. No terms except unconditional and immediate surrender. Just like that.
Wow.
And that phrase, unconditional surrender, it just caught on everywhere. The papers picked it up. He became Unconditional Surrender Grant.
Quite a name. But his path wasn't exactly smooth even after that. There were major bumps. Shiloh, for instance.
Oh, Shiloh. April 1862. That was brutal. He was caught completely by surprise, a massive Confederate attack.
And his army almost collapsed.
Nearly did. And the cost, just horrific. The sources mentioned more than 23,000 men dead or wounded.
23,000, it's staggering.
It absolutely is. And, the criticism came thick and fast. People calling for his removal, accusing him of carelessness. Even the drinking rumors resurfaced.
So why didn't Lincoln just fire him? It seems like the politically easy thing to do.
That's where Lincoln's genius maybe comes in. He saw something others didn't.
The famous quote.
Right. Lincoln defended him, basically saying, I can't spare this man. He fights.
He fights. Simple as that.
Simple but profound. Lincoln understood Grant's core strength. It wasn't about fancy tactics, maybe not even about avoiding mistakes entirely. It was about determination. The will to keep pushing.
Even after a disaster like Shiloh.
Especially after Shiloh.
Yeah.
Lincoln seemed to realize that in this kind of war, that relentless fighting spirit was maybe the most important quality of all. Despite the horrific losses, despite the criticism.
And Grant proved him right, didn't he? He kept going in the West.
He did. He learned, adapted, and kept pushing forward, which led to Vicksburg.
Vicksburg, Mississippi, July 1863, a massive victory.
Absolutely monumental. Capturing Vicksburg, as the sources say, meant the Confederacy was split in two.
Cut off their western states, controlled the Mississippi River.
Exactly. Strategically, it was devastating for the South. And it really cemented Grant's reputation. After Vicksburg, there was no denying he was the Union's most successful general.
So by 1864, Lincoln knows who he needs to finish the job.
He does. He brings Grant east and promotes him to lieutenant general.
A rank not held since George Washington, right?
That's right. Puts him in charge of all Union armies. A huge responsibility.
And Grant brings a new strategy, or at least a different intensity.
A completely different intensity. The sources call it relentless. Unlike previous generals who often paused or retreated after big battles, Grant just kept going. He understood the math of the war, the North's advantages in men and material.
So he just kept hammering Lee's army.
Constantly hammering. The Overland Campaign, Wilderness, Spotsylvania, Cold Harbor, just Brutal, continuous fighting.
leading to those staggering Union losses, and that's where he gets called a butcher.
Yes, the criticism was fierce, but Grant saw it, perhaps grimly, as necessary. His logic, as the sources point out, was stark. The Union could replace its fallen soldiers, the Confederacy could not.
A terrible calculus, but effective.
Ultimately, yes. It was a strategy of attrition, acknowledging the brutal reality of the war at that stage. He was willing to pay the price because he knew Lee couldn't sustain those kinds of losses indefinitely.
And that constant pressure finally cornered Lee. Appomattox Courthouse, April 1865.
The end of the road for Lee's army.
Mm.
Lee surrenders. The war is effectively over.
So we step back. This man, the failed businessman, the guy selling firewood,
He saved the Union. It's an incredible arc.
truly.
His story, it's really a testament to resilience, isn't it? The sources note he wasn't some charismatic speaker or political genius.
But he had something else.
Determination. Pure, unadulterated determination. He fought when others would have stopped. He advanced when others retreated. He was pragmatic, focused solely on winning.
He was the man Lincoln needed.
Exactly. He fit the terrible demands of that specific moment in history.
And it reminds me of his own quote about battle.
Right. That quote is so revealing. In every battle, there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten. Then he who continues the attack wins.
And Grant just kept attacking.
He never stopped attacking. And, as the source says, in doing so, he changed the course of history.
It really is an astounding story of determination. You see his personal journey from the absolute bottom to the very top, and it almost mirrors the Union's own struggle and eventual victory. It's much deeper than just battles.
It absolutely is. And thinking about that determination brings us to a final thought, something for you, our listeners, to consider. Take Grant's philosophy, the idea that victory goes to the one who keeps attacking, even when feeling beaten. Think about that not just in war, but in, say, your own challenges, personal or professional setbacks. What does never stopping attacking mean for you? How do you push forward when maybe everything inside you or around you feels like defeat, something to mull over?